All right, welcome back. This is the John Hollywood Show. If this is your first time with me, welcome. If you're coming back for another episode, welcome back. Today's guest is Mike. This dude is a dating consultant. Everybody says dating coach or whatever you want to call it. Coach is super washed out, but we're going to go with dating consultant because I've been watching some of this shit and it is the real deal. And if you haven't had a chance to look at it, I'm going to leave all the information underneath this video. Watch it. I can guarantee you're going to enjoy it. This dude knows how to talk. But without further ado, I'm going to let Mike introduce himself a little bit more.
First off, thank you so much for that intro. I appreciate you very, very much. So yes, my name is Mike Zacchio. I'm a New York-based aspiring dating consultant because I'm not quite there yet to where like a business model is like all fleshed out and everything. But I spent about 6 years writing about love, dating, relationships, and such, while also being a sports journalist, which I did for 9-10 years. And then it's just something that's always been a passion of mine. Once I left journalism, started getting into it a little bit more. And then once coronavirus hit and kind of wiped everyone's jobs out, I'm like, okay, this is a great opportunity to really dive in and go feet first into what I want to do. So I started started off as a TikTok live show, and then I moved it over to Instagram Live. And it's a nightly talk show, basically talking about love, dating, relationships, and it has guests on 2 nights a week. And I've been having a blast with it so far.
So let's backtrack a little bit. You said you've been writing about being a dating consultant or your experience dating. So you have books. Tell me more about that.
I got 2 books. Both were published in 2016 because I was a little overzealous. First one's called A Crazy Little Thing Called Love, which was published in April 2016. And then I decided to try and self-publish my second book. And I don't know why I thought to do it in the same exact year, but in any case, that book is called Inside Out. And that was published in November of 2016. And they're both available on Amazon right now.
That's pretty awesome. So like what got you to the point where you're like, you know what, I've been through so much dating, like my experience could help people. What got you to that point?
I mean, I've always been someone who's been like very in tune with his emotions, and I've always felt very passionately about, relationships and love and dating and whatnot. So it's just something that's always kind of been ingrained in me. And I've always been like a writer or broadcaster or in the media in some way, shape or form. Yeah. So it was just, I felt like it was only a matter of time until the two met. And then I think around 2013, 2014, whenever it was, I was scrolling on Facebook and I saw this post come across my feed. And it was like, the 10 things that like guys do for this or something. Like, it's one of those listicle articles. And I clicked on it and I'm like, this is absolute trash. I don't know who wrote this. I don't know what this site is or whatever. So I scrolled around. I'm like, what is Thought Catalog? Like, what is this? So I poked around a little bit more and they were like, oh, do you want to write for us? Send in a submission. I'm like, you know what? I know I'm not the greatest writer in the world. I know that it's better than whatever this is. And if they publish this, then maybe they'll publish me.
Yeah.
So I sent in an article. 2 days later, I got the email back from, or I think it was actually a day later, from one of the producers. And they were like, hey, man, like, we love your writing. We'd love to publish your work. So took them up on that. And I did that for about 3-4 years. And yeah, it was just all basically like on a contribution basis. So it's not like I was getting paid for it, but it was good to just kind of get the work out there.
I mean, that's pretty awesome. Like going out on a whim like that. Like, hey, you see it, you have a disagreement with how it looks currently. Like, hey, I could fix this. Why not? Like, maybe this will take me somewhere. That's pretty dope. So like, in one of my previous episodes, I kind of dive into like the whole dating nightmare shit where it comes to like online dating or all of the apps, all of that stuff. And like, did you go that route? Did you live that life before? Like, I want to figure out a little bit more about how did this guy get into the dating world?
No, I hear you. I feel like I've honestly tried everything within reason. So when it comes to dating apps, I've been on Tinder, I've been on Bumble, I've been on Hinge, I've been on The League. I tried Coffee Meets Bagel. I actually bought a subscription. Yeah, coffee.
Oh
I wasn't on there very long. I don't know what it was.
I don't even know half these names. Like, I've been on Tinder, Bumble, and Hinge, and then that plateaued my online dating because it's too easy. And I'm not going to say it in a really negative way, but it's like it's so easy that it's not healthy. It's like,
yes, it's easy access, just swipe. So that's why like I got to the point where after I got like past my mid-20s, I'm like, you know what, because I always was on the apps to date seriously. I wasn't the hookup type. There were points in my life where maybe I was looking for that, but overall I was like the type looking for more for a relationship than anything else. Then I got to the point where I'm like, everyone on here just seems like they're either not really interested in anything serious or they just want to boost their Instagram following, and I'm not about that. So let me invest some money and actually get a Match.com account and see if that will take me somewhere. That was like a complete waste of time, but I wanted meeting someone off of Match. So like soon after I joined Match.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I was like, okay, well now I have no use for this because I met this person organically. So now I'm never on Match.
So one of the things that I ran into when it came to the dating world was I took the time to really focus on myself. Like I was on all those things religiously, and it was very unhealthy for me, and it was relatively toxic because like you're devoting so much time into this. Like I'm going to communicate with this person about the same thing or 12 different people at the same time about the same conversations. And then when I stopped that and I really started communicating with myself more, and I started working out more, I started eating better, I stopped drinking as much, I really focused on me. That's when like the relationship that I'm in now, which is very healthy, it really came to surface, and like it, in turn, like it was healthy and it was a natural thing. It wasn't something that was forced and like trying to find it, swipe on it on the internet.
Yeah, everyone always said, like, or at least I was always told, like, it always happens when you least expect it, or when you stop trying, that's when it happens, and all this other stuff. And like, I agree with it. It happens when you least expect it. I don't believe in like, it'll happen when you stop trying, so to speak, because like I'm always an advocate for like you need to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Like people who sit there and say, you know what, I'm done with apps, I'm done with dating, I'm not gonna do anything, I'm just gonna become a recluse. And like to me, I'm like, what do you think? Someone's gonna like knock on your door and just be like, hi, I want to date you. Like, no, you still need to.
And if it happened, like you'd be calling the cops. Like this.
Yeah, like exactly. So to me, like you have to put in some effort. I understand if you don't want to go the route of like I'm going to be on every single app, but like even if you say like you know what, Thursday nights, whatever, I'm going to be on Tinder or something like that, or I'm going to get a Match.com account. So this way I'm on the online dating, but at least I'm taking it a little bit more seriously.
Yeah, I mean you're investing money into it. Like I feel like when you start to invest money into something, you're really going to take it a little bit more serious instead of like, okay, I have 8 of the free apps, and then I've never paid to really get some kind of extra guidance. So like you're putting some money there, so you're going to stay into it.
And for me with Match, it was like, because I knew what my mindset was the entire time. So that's why like it didn't matter that like it was Match to me. It was like I was taking it seriously on Bumble, Tinder, everywhere else. For me, it was like if they're putting like if they are putting money into it, they are probably more serious. So I have a better chance of meeting someone who wants something on the more serious side.
I like that. So outside of your dating consulting, what else is keeping you busy?
So I got laid off due to the coronavirus. I was basically managing a bowling entertainment center for about 5-6 months before that happened. I do have another, like I have that job lined up and a job offer for when this is all over. So thankfully I'm in a good employment situation, considering what other people are kind of going through. But I've honestly, like, that's really been the bulk of my focus. Like I wake up at, 6:30, whatever. I'll usually watch Tea with Gary Vee in the morning.
Every day,
take some notes on that or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I go right into, work mode for me in terms of like editing the podcast, whatever, doing the timestamps, whatever, making quote cards and, cover cards, whatever, uploading everything, which sometimes takes quite a while. But yeah, like it's basically like a full time, it's, 9 to 5 or, 11 to 6 or so doing that stuff.
I never realized until now, like how long this stuff takes. And like, you're really going to focus in, because I've watched a lot of stuff and you're editing down like the live feed from Instagram, watching how like it's a smooth transition. Like that's rewatching the video for one is an hour, and then to make it look exactly how you want it. And then, I mean, that's some work.
So like, I mean, when I did my podcast, like what I did, like I was recording on like these headphones into my phone or whatever. And everything was just one take. Like it was just whatever it's going to be is what it's going to be. There was no editing whatsoever. And I just uploaded it. I did like the cheapest platform subscription and whatever I could do. So like you can get away with things like the Instagram live. Like I could very easily just say, here, share on Instagram TV, whatever, and then just leave it at that. But like I have like more pride in my work in terms of like, I want the edits to look a little bit nice or whatever. If I know that I did an hour-long show, but I could probably chop it down to 40 minutes, even if I know people aren't going to watch the full 40 minutes, at least people seeing that, like, oh, it's 40 minutes, it's not an hour. you're more likely to watch it then. And if you add the timestamps, that if someone's like, they stumble across it, oh, at the 17-minute mark, she talks about, this, like that interests me. That's what I'm kind of here to learn. I'll just skip to the 17-minute mark. Well, now it's better than you watching 3 minutes of it and being like, well, this isn't for me, and then checking
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. No, that's definitely great information, especially when it comes to like, if you look at, you're turning on a video and you see that, oh, it's an hour long. Like, oh, fuck, this is an hour long. Like, I don't know if I have an hour to devote to this. I don't even know this guy. Like, if,
Yeah.
how am I going to devote an hour to my life to this? And that's why when it comes to like the podcast, hey, if you're not doing anything, you're going on drive, turn this on, you listen up. You don't have to really pay 100% attention, but something's going to pop out. So it's,
Yeah.
have you thought about taking the sound from the Daily Mic Drop and ripping it and putting it to the podcast platform? Because I know it's already there. Like you're halfway there.
Yeah, so I've downloaded most of the audio files already into like
Okay.
MP3 forms or MP4 or whatever. So they're in my iTunes as just the audio form. I'm just trying to think now, how do I want to go about it with a podcast? Because like my old podcast was called Heart of the Matter, and while it did talk about all of the same subjects, like part of me is like I've been calling, like my show that I've been doing is the Daily Mic Drop. So like I don't want to sit there and like just add it on to the Heart of the Matter account, and then people are going to be like, wait a minute, did he just like change names up on us, whatever? So I'm like, I'd want to do a separate account and just kind of start it all over and make it more like like Gary Vee's like audio experience, how it's a combination, and make this new channel. It could be mic drop episodes. It could be little bits of information that I'm thinking about or whatever. Just like Gary's things are podcasts, his daily V's, his keynotes. It's just a mixed bag of everything.
He's got everything on there. And that's why, like, when I started this channel, my idea was, I mean, I could bring on everyday people from all over the place. I mean, I've had musicians, I've had athletes, professional athletes, like Olympian athletes. I've had all kinds of people on here, big members of the community. And it's like, there's information that they have that they embody with a positive type mindset that could be really important to anybody that runs upon it. And it's like, Gary on another level is funneling like yard sailing to motivation to tough love to like everything across the map. And then like the 30-second idea, like I could see how ripping something like that and putting it out to the public, because like it's in the most random time that you think of something, it's a fucking gem. It's like I'm driving down the street. How am I going to record this right now? I'm driving.
So there's times like what I got in the habit of doing was I would start, because there was a point where it seemed like every time, like right as I was going to bed, I'd get like 3 great ideas for poems or a TikTok idea. So yeah, now if I didn't have a notebook handy, whatever, I just went to like voice memos and I'd be like, TikTok idea, talk about this, like that, or a poem idea. Start off with this line and then go talk about this. Because I would always hate it when I'm like, oh, I'm going to remember that in the morning. And then you wake up and you're like, shit, what was that idea? Sorry for the language.
No, you're fine. Like, there's much worse cussing. I have a few other episodes where it's like every other word. There's a good military buddy of mine, and it was like fuck the whole time. But it's like it's real talk. So you live in the state of New York, or where are you at?
Yeah, so I'm in the suburbs of New York City. So I'm like 45 minutes to an hour outside of New York City.
So how's it looking out there for you guys? You said earlier that you guys are still 100% like shut down. Like, is it slowly opening back up? Like,
yes. So we keep hearing like, it was going to be May 15th, whatever. And like, we just had Memorial Day where they opened it up to where like you can have gatherings of like 10 or so, as long as you were following social distance guidelines. But like, ShopRite is our local store, whatever. They require everyone to wear masks. They usually have a line out the door because they only want to keep a certain number of people in the store at a certain time. It's definitely different. Like my fiance and I went up to like the Dunkin' Donuts this morning. It's like, it's just so weird just seeing life. It just seems like everything is just so slowed down and peeled back. It's very zombie. Like I love the movie Zombieland. It's very Zombieland-esque in how like just deserted some of the roads are and just like the way life is. And now when you see like all these riots or whatever where people are just kind of like taking what they can and run, I'm like, oh my god,
burning down Targets and like,
yeah, we're definitely getting closer to the Zombieland level.
Come on, that's crazy. So like I've been working through this whole thing. Like I work, I'm a licensed peace officer and I work in the Corrections Bureau, but I manage a tactical operations unit for the Corrections Bureau. And I've had to pretty much live through all of this stuff that's going on the outside and relatively on the inside over there, and just seeing like how the waves have turned and how like I don't know why this is a very sensitive subject, especially right now.
Oh yeah.
The action that he made was not okay
Yeah.
by any means, and anybody that's sitting around and watch that is not okay. So like you have a job to tap that person out if you see that they're physically and mentally not able to do their job to the safest manner possible. That's it.
Yeah.
There's no question about it. If I got to tap you out, you're getting tapped out. You go do your thing away from me, or stay by if it gets worse. But like you got to go. And none of those guys did that. And to see that their response to this is like, hey, I'm going to go burn down a target like this.
Yeah, we're living in very wild times, and I sit there and think, because I just see social media just amplifies everything, and I feel like it just divides people even more. That I'm like, I don't know that we'll ever get to a place of normalcy or civil decency to where we can have difficult conversations where it's like, listen, I'm fine if you're on that side and I'm on this side. I have no problem with that. We can have that discussion, but respect me. I will respect you. Don't name call me. Don't shame me. Don't whatever, and we can talk about it. And if we're at a disagreement, then we're at a disagreement, whatever.
Exactly.
But you know,
I heard somebody say it the other day where it's you have to approach the job that you're dealing with now as if you're dealing with a family member, somebody that you love and you don't want to see get hurt. So if you're going towards a family member, say you had to pull over your Aunt Linda, whatever her name is, and Linda's being crazy old Linda like normal at the Christmas party, are you really gonna like act up against your aunt? Like are you gonna feel okay with yourself really approaching somebody like that? Like overdoing it, especially in that scenario, like that's if you're okay with watching it, hand in your badge. Like it's crazy. And the fact like TikTok, my feed has turned in from funny dancing, all kinds of really funny stuff to literally just riots.
Yeah.
How am I going to explain that to my kid? Like, how am I going to, hey, Dad, what is this? Is this real? Like, is this a movie? No, that's 1000% real.
So, like I said, wild times we're living in right now.
Oh my gosh, yeah, for sure. But let's move on to something else. You clearly got a baseball hat on. You into baseball?
Yes.
You got a team? What is it? You're in New York, so I'm sure it's
I'm a big Yankee fan. Everyone in my family is Mets fans. My fiance, my dad, my mom, my brother. A lot of my cousins and uncles are Yankee fans, thankfully. So I have some safe space in the family. But I mean, I'm a New York fan.
Nice.
Above like everything. So like if the Mets were to make the World Series, I'm not gonna like root against them. I hate the Red Sox. That's about it. Like other than that, I like the game of baseball. So I love watching the World Series. I don't really care who's in it.
You play it growing up?
I played Little League. I mean, I was always natural at it, but then like when I forgot what grade it was, or like fifth grade, whatever. I was batting and I got hit in the head by one of the balls, and that just like ruined me because I was like, now I'm afraid of everything, so I'm stepping in the ditch or whatever.
Yeah.
But as I got older, I started joining like some softball leagues, whatever, where I'm like, good. If I get hit by a pitch, I'm not fearing like breaking my leg or breaking a rib or anything like that. So
it's not gonna hurt as bad. I'm a Giants fan. I'm from California originally, and I was about an hour from the Bay. I'm a Giants fan, Oakland Raider fan, so it's like I love the Giants. I played baseball growing up, and same thing when I got a little bit older. I was, you know what, I'll give my hand at some softball. And I mean, it's that team feeling. It's the camaraderie going out with the dudes, kind of shooting the shit. If you're out there having a beer or two, it's really like bring it back. You're a grown man playing a kid's game. Like to get to that level.
Some of my earliest memories of life were watching, like going to my dad's softball games when he was in his like mid-30s, so like closer to my age, whatever. And I just remember like loving that, just whole like I said, it's the guys getting together, and it was something to do.
Yeah.
And then so I didn't join a league until about maybe 4 years ago or so. And I didn't really like, even then I was like a sub, so I didn't officially join a team until 2-3 years ago. And I just like loved it. It's something to do on Sunday mornings, whatever. Like I hate the fact that we can't do it now, because like that Sunday morning, like that's kind of like my release. It's like my me time. And I'm just kind of really missing it right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's especially being trapped in the house. Like, come on, it's hard to be in the house. I don't know if you're an extrovert, introvert, like just being
massive extrovert.
Yeah, so you love being around people.
Yes, I'm going out of my like. If I didn't have the daily mic drop and all my my love and dating stuff, like I would honestly probably be going out of my mind, because like I'd be breaking quarantine every which way, because I would just be like, I can't do this. Like there's only so much Netflix I can watch. There's only so many TV shows and movies that I can watch. And I love like watching TV and watching movies, but like not for 60 days straight or 70 days straight, whatever we're like
14 days straight.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong, there'll be periods where it's like, you know what, like I have like a long weekend or whatever, and I'm kind of exhausted. Like I'm gonna chill. This is gonna be a me weekend.
That was me last night. So I've had a private community on Facebook for a little while now, and it's a really open discussion. It's really cool to see that like TikTok has created one thing, and it gave me the idea for another thing, and to see how everybody that's in the private group that was really like active on TikTok with me came over, and they continue the energy, but they're a lot more open now. So like every Thursday at, I think it's 7:00, we have a private Zoom meeting, and then everybody's in there talking, doing their thing, chatting about everything. But it's a community of people that has really grown from this. And it, like, I mean, maybe you could do it with the whole dating thing. I know you're very active with the mic drop every night, but like last night, for instance, we have our every Thursday Zoom meeting. And like, I had such a day at work, especially, it was so busy. It was hot. I was completely burnt out. I needed a brain break. And I text one of the people that really helps me out with the private group. And I was like, hey, there's no way I'm getting on tonight. Like, but she sent me a picture. There was like 15 people on there last night, just shooting the shit. And it's so powerful to see that, like, it's kind of in your position where you're unable to break quarantine, but they're on there. These people are all over the United States. There's one in freaking Ireland. Like, she hops on there with us. Like, I'm not shitting you either. It's all over the world. It's crazy that this, like, something like TikTok created this, and then I moved it to here, and then now it's doing this, where it's like they're running to the similar shit, but their technology has opened so many doors, and being able to influence that is unreal.
Like, and for me, like, I go through periods where I sit there and think like, man, I've really used this time, like during quarantine, to do something good, to do something productive with my time. And then there's also times where I catch myself, I'm like, well, we're probably getting closer to the end of it, and I still feel like I didn't do enough. Like, you know, I probably should have been doing, you know, forming, you know, Zoom, because that's one thing that I'm very bad at. Like, I'm bad at like creating, you know, like I'm not good at creating communities, which is something I really struggle with. Like, I feel like I have the content in me, and I have the knowledge to help people and the desire to help people. But like, I look at like something I'm struggling very much with TikTok. Like, I saw myself like growing. I'm like, this is great. I'm going to get to, you know, 50,000 followers, 100,000 followers.
Yeah,
I'm going to really build a community. Yeah. And I'm trying to reply to every comment and like every comment and like really let people know I'm here, I'm reading, I care. Mm-hmm. And then it just tails off, and I'm like, God, I feel like nobody cares. It's like I have 49,000 followers on TikTok, and I've like, but I see people with less followers that have a much better, stronger community, and I'm like, God, I would kill to have 10,000 followers who like follow everything and they really engage with my content rather than having 50,000. That's
one of the things I don't quite understand with TikTok is you could have this many followers and still get this many views. Like, it doesn't get blasted to all the people that are following you.
Yeah,
they're very active on their following page. So it's like,
and a lot of it is the viral video. Like, like a lot. Like, I gained probably 25,000 to maybe even 30,000 of my followers, like basically off of one video that just happened to explode. Like, got like I think it's at like 2.4 million now. Yeah. But it was a highly engaging and like I think it was shared like 80,000 times, which is like
crazy.
So like I started to see like that trend kind of take off, and then after that, like, people watch your other videos, whatever. So that's how like you see the surrounding videos are all like, 20,000 views, this, that. Mm-hmm. But like,
I actually had one similar, which is what is funny, and it was about like dating, and it was like, I came in and said, if you're falling out of love with somebody or something of that nature, you have to continue to do the little things to really continue to burn the fire or reignite the fire, and just continue falling in love again. Just something like that. But it was the way I said it, like, really struck off. And then I think it was like 1.5 million or something around that. But it's crazy. Like, just talking in the mirror, people connect to it, and then it like just take it.
So I got that. Like, I don't know if you follow Anna Sitar on TikTok. She's the like the I don't want it girl, with the thing in the mirror. Like, she was like the first TikToker that I was like, I love this girl. Like, oh my God. I love her energy, everything. So like we connected. Like, I think I started following her when she was at like 200,000 followers. I did my own I don't want it video, and it like got 300,000 views, which I was like, oh, that was my first like really viral video. And like she caught wind of it, whatever, and then she like followed me off of it. I'm like, all right, I'm loving this. And now we've kind of like developed like a little bit of a relationship, or a little
That's
bit of
cool.
like a friendship, so to speak. And like I'm gonna have her on the mic drop next week, which
What?
I'm like fucking stoked for.
Man, that's awesome. Hell yeah. I mean,
And
it's
she
just little
just
things though. It's little entrepreneurial moves like to continue to remind you. Like I tweeted Gary the other day, or I commented on one of his tweets, and he said okay, and I was like, what? He fucking responded. Holy shit.
Gary's
But
like a couple of my tweets, and then it's that same feeling of like, you read this, you saw this, you took the time to like it, and
yeah,
it's the little things. Like for him, it takes 2 seconds to open up your phone, and I'm sure he has a billion of them, and he just scrolls past them, and he just likes whatever ones are like fresh on his page. But like if you just happen to be there and you like it, for someone like me, someone like you, it's just
yeah,
like, damn,
yeah.
like Gary Vee saw
Yeah,
that. So
yeah.
if
I
I
mean,
can have
just
that,
talking with Dustin, like that shit. Talking with Dustin is wild too. Like he's the behind the scenes guy, and I mean, I watched your interview with him, and he was saying that that Gary has like every minute of the day scheduled. Like,
I believe it. I
I
firmly believe that. Yeah.
that's
Because which
crazy.
also again from like it stuns me how he sets aside an hour or two
Yeah,
to do like tea with Gary Vee with common folk. So it's like I know he doesn't need to do that, but I appreciate it all the more. It makes me like I can't I can't follow him harder, but like you said, like if he has a product that resonates, like I don't sign up for wine text because I don't drink wine, and my
yeah,
fiance doesn't drink enough wine to where it would be worth it. But like if
yeah,
he came out with some sort of merch that like I saw and I'm like, damn, I rock with that. Like I'd buy a sweater because I'm like, this guy's brought value to my life.
yeah, for
Like,
sure.
so
And every day,
I want to
every day.
support that.
So for you, what would be the most like going back in your history of dating? We're going to go back towards that aspect of things.
Sure.
What would be the most impactful relationship that you've had that really pushed you to the, you know what, I'm the commitment type of guy instead of
It,
the other end?
when I was 20, I started talking to someone, and I think I started dating her shortly after I turned 21. But she was a single mother to like a newborn kid,
Ooh,
and yeah,
that's
like
rough.
for me,
Having a
like
kid alone is rough, but to a single mom with a newborn, that's
yeah, but like we hit it off. Like I liked her energy. We seemed like yeah, and then there's part of me like I've always wanted to be a father. Like it's not like I was trying to insert myself into this kid's life or anything like that. Like, and I
mhm,
wasn't trying to fix her. I just happened to like her, and she happened to have a kid, and I was always very very well aware that like single mothers, like it's a package deal. Single parents, it's a package deal. So you
mhm,
can't like take one without the other. And I was somewhat like resistant at first of like I don't want to get too close to this kid. And then like I was like holding her. She fell asleep in my arms one day, and like done. I was like sold on her. We were together like a year and a half, like solid steady-ish, whatever. And then like 6 months of like on and off before she had to
mhm.
like move away, and that you know just completely changed my life from the relationship that it was. And then 2 years after, I was in like a massive depression, didn't talk to like really much of anybody, and it just changed my whole outlook on life, on dating, everything. It
That's
definitely
pretty heavy because like you didn't only fall in love with the woman, you fell in love with the kid too. Like that's
Oh, I've told my fiance this, I've told my family this, I've told
yeah,
my closest friends, like if there was no kid in the picture, we probably would have lasted like 2-3 months,
yeah,
and that would have been it. But
yeah,
like in our first breakup, after like 2-3 months, like we broke up for like a day or two.
mhm,
Like I remember, part of me went back because I'm like, God, I love that kid though. Like I don't like her father's in jail, and like it's like true like cliche stories. Like her father's in
yeah.
prison, so like she has nobody else. Like at least I could try to be a positive influence in this kid's life. And then I was young and dumb to not realize like you can't stay in a relationship for the kid or anything like that. Like if the situation with the parent is not working out, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, if it's not healthy on the upper end, it would be really hard to really stay into that child's life. And do you still talk to them? Do you have any contact with her and the kid, or the kid alone?
So they moved. What was it, like August or June? I think it was like June, July, so the summer of 2012.
Hmm.
Um, and then I went down to Florida with my dad to go see some family down in Florida. And I made the decision because like when they left, like I told like the kid, even though she was 2, she didn't understand me or whatever. I'm
Yeah.
like I want to at least see her like once a year
Hmm.
going forward or something like that. and I had plans to see her on her birthday. So like I said, they left in the summer. So I had plans to see her for her birthday that in January, and the mother like canceled it because something came up. And I'm like, well, shit. Like, so now the next summer when I went down to Florida, I'm like, I'm going. Like, I rented a car, drove 7 hours up north, up
Yeah.
Florida. And my dad, like, God bless him, like, he's always been the most supportive person in my life. And he was like, I don't necessarily agree with what you're doing, like, but I know this is something that you have to do. Like, he knew that like I needed to see her again, just to, like he read it all on me, like how much I missed her and everything.
It's super honorable, like that, to commit, because there's an energy there. Like no matter where you're at, if you have like a good energy around that person, even if it's an infant, like you developed a relationship with that person, and to see them like grow, to see like, man, this is so awesome to see that they're doing this now, they're doing that now.
First steps, first words, seeing them use a utensil for the first time,
Yeah, yeah,
and then like they the way they look at you, it's a different. That's why like it always annoyed me when my friends would be like, you're not her father kind of thing, or like, you'll never love her like you will your own kid kind of thing. I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen here. Like if I'm with the mother, obviously, like I'm planning to stay with her, I'll eventually marry her, I'll eventually adopt the kid or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
And if we have kids of our own, like I'm not going to treat them any differently than I'm going to treat her. Like
Mm,
she will be my daughter for all intents and purposes.
mm.
So just, yeah, like for me, I'm like, you're not in the situation. So respectfully, like, just don't tell me what I'm feeling, or what I know I'm feeling.
The
So
outside influence is really hard to turn off. It's really hard to like channel that out. Like really, I don't want to hear it. I'm doing my thing. It makes me happy. And this kid is definitely benefiting from it. From like you're giving them love. Like it's one of those things. The mom could give her something, you could give her another type of, but you're still giving them an energy. Like if the dad's not there, I'm not saying that you would be the dad, but you're still giving them that kind of like fatherly attention. And that's huge for anybody to come into. Like I grew up in a broken ass home. My mom ran away from my dad because he beat the shit out of me and my brothers. Like she ran from it. And my stepfather came into the picture years down the road to three really fucking bad kids. Like, and he stuck around because he was in love with a woman. And he did whatever he could to help out with us and to be that father figure with us. So it's like, it's one of those. You were there for the kid and you helped out. And although I'm sure he got outside noise telling him not to do this because of these kids aren't his kids, you got the same outside noise saying, no, this kid is benefiting from me being here. And although you guys don't agree with it, you're not there. You don't have to fucking sit there with me like this.
like for me, putting out the outside, like I honestly think it's impossible unless you fully like detach yourself from everyone. Like it's
Yeah.
like we live in New York. All my friends and family are in New York. Like unless I said like, listen, we're moving to Idaho, and you're not going to hear from no seriously. And you're not going to hear from any of us.
Yeah.
I'm going to delete my social media.
Yeah.
I'm not going to come back to New York to visit anybody. Like we're just going to start a new life there. That's the only way to fully block it out, because
Yeah.
otherwise, like people will always chime in. Whether it's the people who are judging you, the people who are trying to help, but they're also going to give you the tough love. Like people are always going to have their 2 cents of what they think that you should be doing with your life, and especially since like I'm not like now I'm 31. I feel like if I was to date a single mother, it wouldn't be as jarring.
Yeah.
Like, you're more mature, you're more
Things are
stable,
way
whatever.
different
Like
from 20 to 30. Like
yeah,
I'm
I'm a
30.
21. Yeah, everyone's telling me like you're in the prime of your life right now. Like you're in college. This is not what you should be doing with your life. Is
Yeah.
raising another man's kid.
Yeah.
So like for me, like 20 to 25, like doesn't exist. And
Yeah.
it's like I see what all my cousins are doing at 2025. I see movies, TV shows where I'm like, God, like did I really just like throw it away? But I'm also like, those were very formative years for me. Like they shaped me. So yeah, I wasn't out partying and screwing around, but like I grew. I definitely got some maturity that I desperately needed. And I think that I am now in a better place. And I think I will be a better father and a better husband and a better person now because of those years and those experiences.
Hell yeah, I could respect that so much. And I mean, your fiance, if anybody has benefited from that, if anybody else, like you kind of had to live through it early on, and now you're like, you know what? I saw that. I've lived through it. Like I could take the things that I had here and like really incorporate it into my life, whether or not you guys plan on having kids or not. But there's a growth there, and there's an experience there that's huge, so beneficial. And a lot of people like turn a blind eye to a single mom, like. This is the harsh truth, but a lot of people are like,
No,
oh, she's a mom and she's got a kid. Like no, like I'm not swiping right on that, or I'm not going to go talk to her because she's got a kid. Like I don't want that baggage. I'm not trying to be a dad, and I don't want to hear other people tell me that I'm trying to go and be a dad. Like the outside influence is hard to channel out, and it's
Yeah, last week on Daily Mike Job, whatever, I had one of like my writer friends who I met through Thought Catalog when I was writing about love and dating, whatever, and she is now dating a single or well, dating a single parent, whatever, dating a man who has a child,
mhm.
and that was the topic of our conversation. Is like it was the opposite. You know, she is now a woman going into a situation dating a single father. So we talked about all of that, like outside influences or whatever, what people think, you know, like, and we talked about how the perception of single father or just any single parent of like, you know, oh, like he's a single father, he must be a deadbeat, or like, oh, it's a single mother, she must be damaged goods or something. Like I
Yeah.
heard all of those things, whatever. So it was a really constructive conversation. It was just great to chat with her about those things. And for me, it was great to just talk to someone who finally like understood, like
Yeah.
really like
Yeah.
I'm like, you're living this. So like,
Yeah.
I know that you get where I'm coming from. Whereas
Yeah.
everyone else, you can love me and you can support me all you want. But the truth is like, there's certain situations that unless you walk in those shoes, you'll just never experience it.
So for me, I had my kid at 18. So 18 to now 30. Well, absent of like a year ago, like I was going through the whole dating experience world and being a single father, kind of going back towards that topic. When you tell somebody that you have a kid, they're like, "Oh shit, you have a kid." Then it's usually like they're going to disappear, or it's going to continue. Oh, so how often do you see him? What is like this and that, and then like they're open to it. So it's to see the fact that like this type of person is going to be this way, this type of person is going to be that way, and then hearing the outside factor of like you lived it or and she had lived it and kind of went into it. Like my current relationship, it's when she heard about it, she knew about it, she knew from my social media, like she was like, oh man, you have a son, like how old is he, this and that, like super welcome to it, and a son and a dog and whatever else you have, like you're a package, and there's no like you can't just take the guy
Break
without
it
the
up. Yeah.
dog. You can't take the guy without the kid. You know, you can't take the guy without the kid and the dog. So it's like you're really diving in, and really having to accept all of it. And you fall in love with that person. If you're not in love with them, then you got to be selfish and get out of it because it's not healthy for either one of you, especially the kid.
Yeah. So and I just realized now, like I didn't like answer. Like, so I talked to the mom once probably like every 2 or 3 years.
Hmm.
Like I actually no, I'll usually message her just to be like, hey, yo, give her a hug for me, or whatever. Like you don't need to tell her who
Yeah,
it's from. Just like, you know,
yeah,
like just it's happy birthday. There's like at this point, she's now 9, 10, whatever I think it was. Like so, like she doesn't know who the hell I am anymore.
yeah.
But like just something to know that like thinking about her here and there, whatever. I was going through my computer a couple of years ago. I found like all the old pictures of us, and I'm like, hey, I kind of want to delete all this stuff off my computer, but I also knew that she didn't really have a camera at the time, so I don't know how many memories she has. So I'm like, hey, any photos of just her or
Hmm.
just the two of you, like, would you want me to either send them to you or I could print them out and then send them to you? Just because I don't want to just delete them without at least offering it up. If you say, you know, screw you, I don't want them, that's
Hmm.
fine. I'll delete them. But I know I would hate to find out that like someone deleted 500 photos of me and my kid from when they were young when I don't have those photos. So
Yeah.
she's like, yeah, like if you can print them out or whatever and like leave them at my aunt's house in New York, yeah, I'd appreciate it. Whatever. So I did. I never heard from her in terms of whether she got them or not, but you know, she's moved on with life. I've moved on with life. We both seem to be doing better. I'll always wish the best for her and the child. Like that will never ever change. But I also don't miss our relationship at all.
Yeah, I mean, if it's one thing to miss a kid, but not the parent of the kid or the ex girlfriend. And I've actually seen. I think you posted one yesterday, the day before, but you were supposed to talk with your ex girlfriend. Like
Yeah,
for
so not,
exes
it's
to
not.
even talk,
Yeah,
like that's
not her, but yeah. Because like
a
for
different
me,
one.
yeah, like yeah. So for me, like I actually like some people will be like, yeah, no, it was someone I talked to for 2 months, or whatever. But for me, it's like no, if we were exclusive, we were talking for 2 months, like, and I called you my girlfriend, like you're an ex, like
Yeah,
that's what it is. So like that was like one of those situations we dated for 2, 3 months, whatever. It just didn't work out. Like we have a very chill relationship now, where we're like we'll comment on each other's Instagram stories here and there, but like at least on my end, there's no romantic attraction or whatever. I don't think that there's any on hers. It was more of like her her father. is my aunt's boss. So like my aunt like tried setting us up. She's like, oh yeah, like you two should get together. So we tried it out. Just didn't work out, whatever. But yeah, I'm always of the belief that like friends can remain cordial, or friends,
Yeah.
the exes can remain cordial and friends.
It's crazy because like I had posted a video that went semi-viral. It's like 30,000-40,000 views. I don't know what it's at now. It's a few months ago, but I never posted it with the intent to. It was about an ex-girlfriend of mine, and I guess she ran upon it like a week ago, and it was like my first serious relationship after dating or splitting up with my wife, and she reached out. I think it was like 2-3 days ago. It was like, hey, do you mind if we have a phone call? I was like, all right. Like I have nothing but love for her, and like she's married now. She lives in another state. We have both 1,000% moved on with our lives, and the sole intention of me like posting that video on TikTok was to really open up the option for men being able to talk about how they fucked up and how you're gotta own it. And it impacted so many people on there. I talked about the fact that I was on other dating sites while we're still together. The fact that I probably was the sole person that ruined our relationship because of all the insecurities I was going through. Blah blah blah. And when she reached out, we had a phone call like a day or two ago, and she was like, "Hey, I didn't know any of those things." I was like, "Yeah," because it's like neither one of us were capable enough to listen 3 years ago, 4 years ago. It's like, and she's like, "Well, I need the closure." I was like, "Well, closure for what? This is like 4 years ago. You're married now. Like, what are we closing the chapter on? Like, this is so far in the past." And she's like, "Yeah, I saw your video on TikTok." I was like, "Oh my God, this is not going to go well." But I love you.
Yeah, and like closure doesn't like. To me, like it doesn't always need to have an emotional thing or a romantic thing to it. Like I remember, when the ex before my fiance, like when we split up, like she wanted to get together for like pretty much like a business meeting. We were trying to start a softball tournament for a mutual friend who had lost her home in a fire.
Oh.
And like we were texting and emailing or whatever, and I got to the point where I'm just like, like we should just like meet up and just because like we'll get more done in an hour of talking than checking our phones here and there, whatever. But I also like talked out with my fiance, who was my girlfriend at the time, and I'm like, look, this is why we're getting together. I have no feelings for her in that way. I will always I care about her, like I care about her as a friend and whatever. But like you have nothing to worry about. If I thought that there was something to worry about, I wouldn't put myself in that situation. Also, we probably wouldn't be together because the reason it took a couple months for us to get together was because I'm like, let me heal from this situation, and then I can like invest in you.
Let's talk more about healing, because like most people are like, hey, I'm done with this relationship. I gotta find another one super fucking quick, and it's usually like, we just broke up. I'm gonna go party. I'm gonna meet the new Brad or the new Sarah, whatever it's gonna be. Like instead of taking the time to really focus on, hey, this is why this shit fucked up. This is why this ended. And we had a difference in lifestyles or different opinion, blah, blah, blah. We just didn't get along. But it's like, instead of going back to like the ground level, you start off of where you're broken at, and then you continue to break and break and break and like go on and go from there. So healing, what do you do to like resurface yourself? What would you say like you had to take the time to heal?
So first of all, as far as healing goes, like anyone who ever says, the best way to get over someone is to get under someone else. Like,
no.
If you can get over someone by getting under someone else, then you never cared about the person, the previous person. That's my 2 cents on that.
No, it's perfect. I 100% agree. And there's so many people that are going to hear that like 30-second block and be like,
but no, healing was also like a thing because like I feel my emotions very, very deeply. So that's why like there are certain times where I read into certain like any good feelings like whatever like are heightened to me. Whatever any bad feelings are heightened to me. So I'll probably overreact one way or the other.
Yeah.
So healing was something that like I really struggled with. Like I remember I was infatuated with this girl. Like one reason why my fiance has not read my first book and why I tell her I don't want her to read is because it's like mainly based on this girl that like I went on one date with and like fell like head over heels for.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to like have the self-awareness to be like, man, you were a fucking idiot. Like, you just did so many like creepy things, or you just didn't read any signals at all. You didn't like respect her wishes. Like you just didn't get it. And like there's times like to this day I kind of want to like call her up and just be like, hey, I just want to take 30 seconds just to apologize for how I was in that time. Like we're still cool. She follows me on TikTok, so I'm sure she's seen a bunch of my stuff, but like some part of me, like for in terms of closure, I just kind of want to like, part of me wants to just like throw that out there.
Yeah.
But the rest of healing is like, give yourself the time and the space, like, like to just be in your emotions and to figure yourself out and figure out what's going wrong in life. Like I had a girlfriend for about like for like maybe 5 months or so, and then we broke up, and then I saw my ex whatever a couple of months later, and then we broke up, and I started seeing Shannon like soon after. So like there was a point where I'm like, part of me felt like I'm just doing too much or whatever, and I'm also like, these two girls dumped me like high and dry. Like what am I doing wrong? Why do I keep either ruining things, or why do things keep not working out? That it took time. That's why I told her, I'm like, I need time to just figure shit out, like, and just and clear myself. So I think removing people off of social media and like distancing yourself from your exes is a great way to heal. Whatever. I think you could be friends after the fact, but I think in that immediate aftermath, you should try to remove yourself and just like be in tune to you. And also surrounding yourself with positive people. I don't want necessarily sympathy around me, whatever. I want people who are going to lift me. So people who are like, can make me feel better without being like, hey man, like, let's talk. Like, let's grab a beer and talk about your ex. Like, that's not what I want. Like, no, like for me, if you know that I love karaoke, whatever, like, dude, let's go to karaoke night and have a fucking ball tonight. That is going to lift me more than many nights out, just drinking and sitting around.
Good vibes. It's
swapping
100% good vibes. Yeah.
So whatever it is, and I mean, I think that goes for a lot of things in life, but just do things that make you happy and surround yourself with people who make you happy.
I feel like that is a continuous thing. Like that has to be a continuous thing, because me and Lydia, we both have our separate things that we really focus on. Like, this is my passion. Like, I work a 48-hour week, a 12-hour days normally, and when I come home, I'm juggling this and my relationship. So it's like we're both really pursuing things that we're super happy in, but we have so many things that we come together on and we can go and be happy together with. And it's like surrounding yourself with positive media, because it's out there. There's some positive media out there, positive social media, positive, music or podcasting or stuff like that. I couldn't encourage that more on a regular basis every single day, because it's like, if you don't feel good listening to it, or you don't feel good after you have the conversation with it, then you probably shouldn't have it in your life. It's remove that shit out of there. And my last episode was really diving into more positivity, but it's like, listen to the way you're feeling. And when you just got through a relationship, break down, cry. It's okay. You're a guy. I'm a guy. We both fucking cry. I can admit it. There's times where I find myself in a deep, dark place, but once I cry and let that shit out, I'm going on with my day. We're good to go. Like, just gotta find it.
I was mentioning, I don't know if this was yesterday or 2 days ago, whatever, where like, I know I have a massive cry in me. So like, it's not a masculinity thing or whatever. Like, physically, I can't, like, I just don't cry. Like, I don't let out that big cry, but I know it's in me, and I know I need to get it out. It's been backed up. So like, we were talking about how, like, I went back to go see the kid like a year later, whatever. Yeah. And like, when I said my goodbyes and got back to the car, like, bawled my fucking eyes out. Like, I've never cried in my life. And that was the last time that
ugly Kim K cry.
Yeah. Oh, it's still one of the most vivid memories of my life, because I was punching the steering wheel. Like, and this is like a rental car, but I'm like asking myself, like, why can't I have her in my life? Like, I want to make her life better. Like, I'm seeing this shithole that she's living in, and I'm like, I know I can do so much better for her. And like, why can't this happen? And like, why do I feel this way? And like, and I was just so angry at the world and myself, and then just like let it all out. And then once I did that, I'm like, okay, that felt great to get it out. And I didn't realize that 7 years later, it'd be like, that's the last time that like I really cried out. Like, yes, I've teared up to Toy Story, and you'll let out a tear or two, but I mean like,
really,
like that good cry feels fucking amazing. And I want that. I wish there was a way to like get hypnotized or trigger it to someone to be like, and when it's out, like, you're going to cry for like 20 minutes, but like, it'll be 7 years of backup cry.
It's an emotional release. It's an emotional release.
If I could cry, I would have no shame in it. None at all. I actually hate myself that I can't bring myself to let it out in that form. For me, my release is poetry and writing in any way, shape, or form.
How often do you do that? Because that's like a really impactful creative release. Like,
I don't write poetry as much. I've noticed that like I pretty much write my poetry or whatever when I'm like heartbroken and sad. Like I can't write anything good when I'm happy
yeah.
and in a good relationship. But like I've stumbled upon like notebooks where like I've read about like my exes, like when I was in the relationship, and I'm like, oh god, I felt that way. Like, you sure?
I mean, that might be beneficial to the brand as well. Like that's something that it was your heart. You put your heart on paper, and it was something that it fucked you up. That breakup really hit home. And then you when you wrote it down, you put the emotions down, and like people go back and read that and be like, dude, this guy
Yeah,
knows
like
what's up.
everything in my thought catalog is loosely based or
Yeah,
sometimes directly based on a girl that I was seeing or a girl that I was crushing on.
yeah.
So like to go back and like for me, like I can know, that was just me being in my feels. That's about this girl. That's about my ex. That's about this girl, whatever. And then when I read them back, I'm like, God, this is awful. Like, it's good to read that because it's like, yeah, no, it's just, that's just writing. That's not
yeah.
actual emotion or whatever. And then I read the things where like I know exactly what I was feeling when I wrote that, and I'm like, okay, I can like transport back to that time and remember it.
Back to the fact that you feel like you can't cry.
Yeah,
Um, I know I've met a good amount of people, and I've been to New York. There's a lot of fucking tough people there, and they act tough all the time. 99.9% of the people I encountered when I was there, because I mean, from California, there's a bunch of assholes. In Texas, everybody's super nice, and then when I was in New York, everybody was a different type of asshole. But I mean, it was cool to be there. Like the energy there was wild. Like just being in the city alone. Like I know you're just outside the city, but being in the city of New York was
it's nuts.
crazy. And
Yeah,
like we went all over the place. But the people there were just a little bit different than what I expected it to be. And then like going on the subway and being around Times Square, which is a fucking rat trap. But like going to Central Park and going all over downtown, like the people were a different type of like hardcore. And then do you feel like that's like keeping you, that like molded you to being I'm not being able to cry or being
no,
able to
like
express those emotions?
I am in no way, shape, or form a tough guy. Like I don't try to be. I don't try to put out that persona. Anyone who
Mm,
really knows me knows that I'm not. Like I'm
yeah.
5'11", 150 pounds. I intimidate nobody. Like I have tattoos, which makes me slightly intimidating to people who don't know me and to
Yeah.
smaller people if they are out there. But like, no, I'm a sensitive bitch. I tell people that like, which is why it's like, to me, it's ironic that I like, you would think that like, if you ever seen the movie Bedazzled,
Yeah, yeah.
whatever, like you would think that I would be like the emotional one of like the prettiest sunset ever. And you just, and I like, and like, oh God, that would be Zacchio. Like, do write poetry, talks about love, whatever. Like, but my toughest friends who will say that like they're tough guys, like, oh, I don't cry. I'm like, dude, I've seen you cry. I can count on one occasion. So like, don't tell me that you don't cry. Like, and it's fine. I know you're tougher than me. I know you're bigger than me. I know you're stronger than me. I know you're tougher than me. But you cry. It's
Yeah,
fine. And
yeah.
I don't. It doesn't make me in any way, shape, or form more of a man than you are. It's
Just a
just
different way of expressing
a
your emotions.
personality
Yeah.
defect. Like it honestly is a defect because like I agree. It's an emotional release and it's healthy and it's cathartic and it's something that I wish I could do and I just can't bring myself to do it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
one day I'm sure it'll happen. I don't know what's going to trigger it, but I'm afraid to see what it will be that does the job. But
I mean,
yeah,
just keep doing your thing until it comes up. Oh my
yeah,
gosh. But I mean, it's been a little over an hour now, and I want to say thank you so much for coming on with me. Like there's so much content here. There's so much information here that so many people are going to benefit from, especially like the alpha or the masculine feminine. Like there's so many fucking people out there that are so afraid to express emotions, and they kind of just cover it up with other shit and never really go back to like being happy. And that big ass cry, that shit happens. It's okay to do that. And I just want to say thank you so much for being with me today and taking the time out of your day to do the interview. And whatever I could do to help you out in the future, just let me know. But this has been awesome. And
I appreciate you having me on. Thank you so much for the. It's like I was talking to my friend yesterday on my episode. She's a reporter,
Mhm.
And like we were both reporters, so she's like, it's kind of weird being on the opposite side.
Yeah.
Like you used to be the one asking the questions. So for me, I'm like, oh God, now I know exactly what she was feeling yesterday.
Yeah.
It's different to be answering questions about yourself and whatnot rather than to be asking them.
I'm usually
It was
doing it
great.
as a professional thing. Like I got the when I have to ask questions and get the questions and the answers from people. I'm like, I got to take notes. I got to do this because I'm going to write this report. Like there's a big litigation thing that goes with my job. So it's, when I'm doing it, it's not on like such a relaxed, like go with the flow type of thing. So this is like, I love this. And for you opening up to me about the stories that you did, like completely amazing. And just thank you so much. And, if you guys want to get a hold of Mike, I'm going to leave all the information below. And I mean, if I'm going to check out his book and he's over here talking about publishing it a few years ago, it's got to have some raw content in there. So I'm pretty excited about this too. But thank you for tuning into the John Hollywood Show. If there was any part of this show that benefited you, please, I couldn't encourage more. Like, comment, share. Check out Mike, and then I hope you guys have an amazing week. Talk to you later.